So what I can do... Oh, look at that. Wow. Production value going off the scales here. And because I'll keep it like this because we should be seeing some player footage as well, so it'll be a little fun. And you've got the data. I can make these a little bit bigger for those of you that have trouble.
But yeah, there's a draft, boys. Just be patient.
双方的比赛应该快要开始了，在此的话呢，也是看比赛的这个内容点播，我们请扫描屏幕的底下下方会有一个二维码飞熊视频参与评论抽奖，更可以获得价值。
There we go. Look at
I mean, this is just the standard lower third draft, right? Like everybody.
It is. This is because I was watching before. This is what they're doing as well themselves. And they're having the love heard. Oh, here we go, MDL. Oh, they set it all up, and they don't even freaking use it with the player shots, and they show just a stand. Yo, screw these guys. What?
Dude,
Right, we'll have a boring draft screen then as well. Yeah, if you don't want to put any effort in. Come on, Chinese lads. They were doing it before. They stepped it up, and now they've stepped it back down. Honestly. Well, there we have it.
Well, you tried, and that's really all anyone can ask of you.
Yeah, I did. But here we have it. The draft underway. Vici Gaming versus mvp.phoenix. 2 picks in already. Conqueror Void is going to be the opening for Vici, and SD Timbersaw for mvp.phoenix. So, considering the rest of the bans, pretty standard. I guess the kind of the weirdest thing here is the fact that Timber and Void being picked up this early on.
Yeah, the last games that we casted together, we saw Void being picked in like the 4th and maybe even sometimes 5th slot, depending on the team. I know MVP themselves took it as a last pick, but I mean, it's still a solid hero. It's flexible. You can put it safe lane. You can put it off lane. I think that MVP, after having seen like 2 melee heroes already, though, Timbersaw is just already a good pick because you know you can burst pretty heavily on those two, and killing Faceless Void in a burst and a stun is going to be nice with stuff like Soul Catcher. So it's a solid opening. Timber is also pretty ambiguous in regards to where you can put him. Doesn't really give too much away. Both teams opening fairly strong.
Yeah, I mean, between these two teams as well, these teams, you think that we'll see the Elder Titan coming? Because it feels like in a lot of the other series we are seeing Elder Titan being banned out.
I think the Western teams maybe value it a bit more.
Yeah, I think you're right, aren't you?
Yeah. Because I know that Secret and EG play the hero. I think they banned it against each other as well when they were playing. Yeah, but that's just how I see it. I think that ET Void is still kind of strong, but then you have ET Kunkka support, and that doesn't really seem amazing. Because you kind of want one hero playing a little bit more greedy, and then one hero who's pretty much securing the lanes and roaming around. That's why you have like the 4 and 5 position. And if you have ET and Kunkka, it's kind of like you probably want the ET playing 5, which means he'll never get an item more or less unless you're just owning, and that doesn't seem super good. But...
Oh, Andy, they've got it now. We've got the there we go. Look at this. They are doing it, so we can set this up. Oh, boys.
Production value.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna check this out. This is I'm putting some work in here. Look at that. We have the draft, and we have live footage from MDL in China. I believe I want to say in Shanghai. It's in Shanghai, isn't it? I think. I'm not too sure, actually.
I don't know what city it's in.
Look at that. Production value off the scale here.
That's impressive, Owen. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm still super far behind, but whatever.
You'll see it soon, Andy, and you'll be blown away by the effort I put in for the stream. Tinker! There we have it.
Oh, boy.
3rd pick for Vici Gaming.
It's going to be one of those games. So, Vici already have a ridiculously hard high ground to break, just between the Tinker, the Void, and the Kunkka. Tinker is extremely potent in lane as well. If they were assuming that MVP were going to put QO on Timber and put him mid, then it's a pretty easy matchup for the Tinker, obviously. You can laser spam, you have March to push out the wave. Man, this is actually kind of a weird position now for MVP. They're going to either have to choose to... They're going to have to choose to pick something that actually counters Tinker. Like, normally you would think of stuff like Spectre and Storm, something with global presence. Silencer is also okay. Some teams have been liking playing the Silencer at MDL, but you need some kind of catch and follow through to be able to kill the hero. Otherwise, he's just going to make the game an absolute nightmare. Beast is pretty good too, but I don't think MVP played Beastmaster.
If there was ever a time to start playing it, could be now.
Just sub in Universe, give him Beastmaster, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. Something to do with the old Tinker. Let's see what that is.
It's kind of cool seeing the different drafting style, though, of Vici.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that, yeah, definitely the other teams that we've followed in this don't do it as much, especially this Tinker pick. Have we seen any teams play Tinker?
Yeah.
Has Samael played Tinker this tournament, or is it?
I hadn't seen it, but that doesn't mean he hasn't played it.
Yeah,
I
he
just
could have
haven't
played it
seen
when we were sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Morana's going to be the pick. One of those heroes that I guess can kind of deal with a Tinker in terms of what... If
You can throw out arrows. I think it's
catch him
more
with the
just...
arrow.
I think the MVP are going the standard route that they like to play, which is try to pressure lanes really hard. SD Morana is pretty strong. Even if the Morana's a core and you have the SD around, you can pressure that lane pretty heavily. Moonlight Shadow can be a nice way to initiate if you can catch Vici off guard and they're not prepared with like sentries and dust and whatnot. It's a pretty good pick. It's also a really good amount of wave clear once Aghanims comes online. When you're playing against Tinker lineups, you always need, you know, at least 2 heroes, sometimes maybe even 3, that are going to be able to clear the creep wave so you can actually pressure objectives. And Aghs, Morana, and Timbersaw will do that very well. So that will help you in the lane equilibrium game. And there's a
Spectre. Wow, okay, again. Very
It's
much...
like one of the best heroes.
What, against Tinker?
Yeah, against Tinker. Because it guarantees that once you have Radiance, you're going to break his Blink Dagger.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about him that's really frustrating, is because typically what you do is like you bots to lane, you shift click blink somewhere, and then you just march, and then you blink another place, and you march again. And it's very hard to hold him down that way. But if you just pop ulti and you have Radiance, you're on top of him instantly. And once you have like Manta late game and stuff like that, and Diffusal Blade with Radiance, you just shred him.
But can't
every
you
time he's on
still
the map.
rearm and blink out between the Radiance
You
damage
can,
sticks? Yeah.
but it's very hard.
Okay.
Because it's not just the Radiance damage ticks in the late game, it's also him auto-attacking you. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no
There's
guarantee
2
that those
instances.
hits
Yeah.
are...
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just going to ban Storm too. So they banned the other hard counter to Tinker, and they're assuming that this is just going to be a roaming Morana instead, which will obviously delay the Aghs, but still, once you pick it up, it's still going to be pretty good. But I think that Vici... I mean, I can see the Tinker having a pretty good game. My concern right now is how are they going to pressure the Spectre, because I don't really think they have the heroes for it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah,
Good ban.
Huskar, yeah.
Really good ban.
You want to, because that could have been one of those heroes that, I mean, that's all the
Yeah.
pressure in the world that you could then
I
apply
think
to
they would have
Spectre.
just gone aggro if they had that and just do like Oracle, Huskar, or Kunkka.
Well,
It
Invoker
looks like
as
it's going to be
well.
the off-lane Timber, so yeah.
Another hero that, you know, they're obviously expecting to get the Quasics, or even the other way around. Yeah, you find him, you're taking him, and Vici Gaming, they're taking the Terrorblade. This is something that, you know, this is that it's their pick. You know, and he is one of the, I think one of the more well-known Terrorblade pickers in China.
And Yang's Void as well. Yang is a really good Void player, and DS player for that matter.
So, I mean, this is, as you said, you know, it's going to be about the pressure they can apply onto the Spectre. At the same time, if it goes on, they will have a Terrorblade. I mean, if you're kind of getting to kind of late game war, you know, Terrorblade versus Spectre, is there a hero you bro have on your side?
I think I'd rather have the TB personally, because you have the backup of like Coco Rum and Void as well. I think the synergy between like Vici's late game teamfight potential and just having the mobility of the Tinker, pushing the waves, having Terrorblades just sheer damage output is pretty terrifying. I think the MVP still kind of want to play this in an aggressive manner. You want to abuse Timbersaw's strength during the early and the mid game, and the same thing could be said with their SD Murata combo.
Well, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hey, look, it's me and you, Andy, on the screen.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are we owning?
Yeah, look, I'm the guy on the right, you're the guy on the left.
Nice.
Yeah. I've done my hair up and everything. It looks beautiful, but yeah, let's get in. Oh, in fact, we've got some fun going on here. Smoke time. Level 1 smoke from MVP. If they get a disruption, they could get a kill very easily.
If they catch Yang, though, it's going to be a hard kill. They have to time the arrow perfectly.
The positioning for Yang, yeah, it's... I mean, Yang? They want to
doesn't care.
fight here. Ghost going for the level 1 march. Just going to start to push them back. Now he's going to catch Dubu in the torrent. And Dubu, now he's going to go down. That's first blood for Vici Gaming. A little bit of a scrap here, as they will be the ones to get the kill. And MVP, with that smoke, they find nothing apart from a dead teammate as first blood. Very nice for Vici Games to start. I mean, that was always a risky smoke, wasn't it? Coming into the jungle from that angle.
Yeah, this isn't actually the first time we've seen that happen either.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times when the Radiant team will smoke up and walk into that high ground into 5 of the enemy team on Dire side, and because of the fact that you're just on the high ground, you're already at a disadvantage.
So he gets
Yang.
Okay, the arrow, they juked out the torrent. Yang taking a fair bit of a punch. He has got that time walk. I'm going to chase this one down by the looks of it. Fabian Ryzen. Oh no, they can't go any further. He's got the stout shield and he's tangoing up. He has a salve ready as well, but forcing the salve out early. Bit of good news there for the side. Top lane, Vilo. Looks like he's given a fair bit of harassment there too, and in fact he's still coming in for this one. Vilo. He is got no fear whatsoever apparently at the moment. He'll get himself out, and he'll be forced to pop himself as well. So offlaners left, right, and center using their salves very early on. As the pressure is put on, and well, more pressure down bottom. Ryzen and Dubu wrapping around, looking for Yang. They'll try for the setup. Ryzen, has he got the timing right? Yes, he has, but it's only going to be a short stun. So Yang can time walk back out, but it's all kicking off across the map. I mean, lane-wise, Andy, do you prefer a team here? Is a team going to have an easier time early on?
I think MVP are going to have a hard time making Dubu and Ryzen have a large impact. Like, even with this combination, because the safe laner is a Spectre, it's still going to be really hard to kill Yang. And when you have a defensive tri-lane like this, you typically want to be able to zone him, but he's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care that you don't have 3 heroes. He needs to be careful not to get too low, though. If he's under, like, half or a third HP and he gets the arrow combination, he could actually die. But prior to that, he'll be able to keep the supports down here more or less and pressure the lane just by himself, and that's actually a pretty big advantage for Vici, because normally you want this combination, Dubu either to be stacking the woods and Ryzen to be roaming, or vice versa, and they can't if Yang is down here.
There we go, they're going to try again. A little bit more of a distance on the arrow this time, but timing not quite there as Yang is given the window of opportunity to time walk out after the disruption.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, Yang certainly taking a lot of attention from MVP at this moment, which is freeing up the map elsewhere. He's doing alright up top though. He's getting the levels. He's dealing nicely with the combination of DDC and N. And FY just stacking up a camp and making the movement towards mid. Actually messing up the stack there.
Dubu was getting punched in the face by Yang while you were watching the other lane as well. But yeah, this is the issue that MVP currently have is they are essentially going to be playing 2 lanes under man because they were committing both of their supports to 1 lane. And that's one of the problems when you have, SD and Mirana, is if you want the combo to really reach its full capacity, you want them to be together all the time. Arrow's gonna whiff here onto Ghost in the middle lane. But yeah, it's not ideal, and obviously MVP can still adjust a little bit if they want to. If they do though, Yang's just gonna get a ton out of this off lane.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of game as well, what do you expect Yang to be building? Is he going to try and go for a quick blink, or is Vlad's very necessary for the lineup, or can he go Yasha, Diffusal?
I think Vlad's blink is typically the play when you have these styles of lineup, because he's pretty much the team initiator. Nobody else besides maybe FY can really set up for kills.
FY did look for QO again in the mid lane. It's coming in with the torrent and a couple of whacks. And walks it off. As Ryzen also still hanging around that mid lane. We'll see if he does try and fish for another arrow. But it's very hard for him to hit it off. Not really too much kind of setup. Maybe if QO gets a cold snap in and a couple of punches. It's going to be hard. Bottom lane, Yang stacking up the shadow poisons on him. Actually time warp before the damage comes through. And he is out of regen as well. He's only got those 4 stick charges. So they are managing to eat through the void sustain on this lane. Already level 3 is pretty fair off, and well, 2 carries at the moment. 21 for 2 on N, 20 for 8 on Febby, so having an equal time. Top lane, looking for Velo. They'll look for the setup. X-Mark into Torrent. Have they got the damage to bring him down? He's got 2 points of reactive armor. It doesn't matter when DDC hits you with that level 2 Purifying Flames. As indeed, Vici Gaming getting themselves the 2nd kill in this game.
They have a really good amount of burst damage between their supports to take out Timber. I think people underestimate, like, level 3 Oracle. He can do an insane amount of damage if you're not prepared for it. And up until that point, Vilo was doing very well, even better than Yang, respectively. He's got the 12 and 0 CS right now, where Yang's only sitting at 8. Now granted, he was against a dual lane, and Timber is probably one of the most durable offlaners in the game at this point, if not the most.
And of course, just going for that very defensive build as well. The 2 in chain and the 2 in the armor. None in the def at the moment.
And I think it's pretty standard when, like, before you have arcane boots, if you don't think you can go for kills, there's not really much of a point in skilling Whirling Death. You just want to make sure that you have the damage output from the Timber chain.
As you can see, Velo just really playing as aggressive as he can, just keeping the attention of the 2 supports from Vici Gaming, knowing that You can allow Kyo to feel a little bit safer in the mid lane, with FY's presence being mainly up towards the top. Febby feeling very safe now in the lane. Yang is still there, but still with the back of a Dubu, meaning that it's going to be hard for Yang to get too aggressive, at least until he gets that level 6. Level 4 at the moment. Febby's got the phase boot, so we'll be able to trade a fair bit of punches with the Void as well if he comes too close. 2-0
There's actually...
Yep.
I was going to say, there's something else that we haven't really touched too much on. It's the fact that Q is actually going Quaswex.
Oh yeah, that's not something that we see every day recently.
Especially when you have SD Mirana on your team.
Yeah,
Normally
absolutely.
it's almost exclusively Exort at that point. And I mean, it's still very good. I mean, we talked about it the other day when we were casting an Invoker. It's like, it's just whatever you feel is best for the situation. And I'm actually really surprised that of all people, QO is doing it, although he does like to play very aggressive, and these are the types of builds where your team fighting very early on and you want to try to push the advantage.
Bottom lane, FY hits the torrent. Zubu, he'll drop a disruption down. It's not going to save him. As Vici get the kill. FY, can he get himself anything else? He's got the X mark, has got the torrent. Maybe sitting at full health though, but oh, the presence of DDC. He's got a fair bit of nuke with the Purifying Flames. They won't kill him. They will force Febby to be a little bit more careful here on this bottom lane. As, yeah, at the moment, as you said earlier, just FY making himself felt across the map as he keeps moving across the lanes and finding openings to make a go. Well,
I'm not really sure what MVP can do in the lanes per se because of their support combination. And I think that's going to be something that we have to keep going back to. There needs to be an arrow, basically.
Mid lane, look at this, a bit of a go here. The Quaswex Invoker coming into play, and Ghost. Oh, he's going to juke the arrows. Not going to juke that one, though. The right click from Ryzen, catching him there with QO. DDC, he's come across, not going to be able to do anything in return. But yeah, nice play for them there. But only just getting the kill on the Tinker. Very, very close there. The infused raindrops nearly saving him.
Yeah, if he had a Fairy Fire or something, he would have actually walked away from that. It's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, it's like I was saying, if your Mirana isn't making anything happen during the early game, then your support combination is not really contributing a whole lot, except for like getting a couple of levels and some EXP. So in that regard, you know, Vici have been able to accomplish a lot more because they have a Kunkka, and Kunkka can set up kills a lot more reliably. Nice D-ward coming in there from DDC, gets the fresh ops that was placed towards middle. And we're going to see another arrow whiff, so Ryzen's having a bit of a hard time. He does have Arcanes though, which means that even if he's missing arrows on mid, he can still farm the jungle and whatnot. And it looks like they actually stack the median camp as well. But MVP are kind of on this timer where they really want to try to fight before like the bot's blink comes out on Ghost. Because once that happens, you're going to have to worry about the split push game.
You see up top there, trying to make a bit of a go on Velo. He's kind of played around them all, and he goes for the TP out. FY can have the vision and didn't impact up the mana or the cooldowns to do anything about that. The 3 heroes went in pretty hard on the Timbersaw. I was seeing at this point, it's just impossible to take down, especially with the infused raindrop. Pretty big there, blocking 2 of the nukes. Of course, coming out from the Oracle and such. So a very hard kill for the side of VG Gaming to go for. They did try it. I'll see if they stick around in this top lane or if they look elsewhere. Ghost, he's got an invis, but immediately it's Quasing, Wexing him back. Bottom lane, that's actually where the go's going to happen. Yang, he's going to not have the chance for the time walk there. Nice kill indeed for MVP. As Yang set up upon by Tubu's disruption, and the follow through was there that time. So 2-3, MVP stepping it up, and at the moment, farm-wise, it is very, very close across the map. I mean, kind of core-to-core comparisons, it's pretty much equal at this point. I mean, I think with a slight edge in each role going the way of MVP.
Yeah, I mean, Kuro's had, I think, a little bit more help than Ghost has, respectively, just in regards to, you know, the Mirana's playing off-map a lot, and if you play mid and there's a Mirana missing all the time, it just, like, passively pressures you into playing a more defensive style. They haven't really stacked the jungle for him much either, which is a little bit unfortunate. FY and DDC were really busy trying to make ganks happen and didn't really have time to help out the Tinker as much. So that's probably one place where MVP can look to punish, just because, you know, Q is going to have such a nice time in the early game. And on Quaswex Invoker, as soon as you hit like level 8 or 9, you're already pretty much in fighting shape, because you only got 3 spells, right? You got Tornado, EMP, and Cold Snap. Those are your fighting abilities. And they're all very good, even with just 4 points into Quas and Wex.
Well, looks like we are going to have a bit of a pause here. At a similar time that we may see something come out from VG. They do have 3 of them grouped up. DDC has a smoke. I mean, it's a bit of a weird smoke movement. Do you think they will go for a smoke here? Between the Tinker, the Terrorblade, and the Oracle?
I don't think that they necessarily want to fight. I think it's just... if you see an opportunity where the map is split up and MVP aren't like together, then sure, you can go for that kind of smoke play. But playing aggressively and trying to fight into like tier 1 towers when you don't even see the supports on the side of MVP, like Dubu just hit 6, they're also smoked. And Ryzen's just like sitting right behind him, so they have like Demonic Purge as well. I think it's too hard to make a smoke play if you don't actually know what the enemy supports are doing, especially when your lineup is a Tinker Terrorblade. Like you want to kind of farm. You don't really want to like sit yourself under a tower and set yourself up for a counter game.
Oh, look at this. We've got some amazing production value on the stream for the pause, lads. Look at this. You'll see this in a minute, Andy. The direct comparisons there between each of the roles and each of the players at this current moment in time. But the game is back on, so I'll have to take away that production value. But hopefully you enjoyed it there. And DDC and Ghost are going to be the ones coming back towards mid, but in fact it is MVP. They're the ones to smoke up. And looking towards the mid lane, just behind Q at the moment. See if anyone makes a go. Arrow's not going to catch there, Ryzen to throw it out. Q looking for a bit of an opening onto Ghost. They'll jump in. Actually going to pop the Hawk for this one as well. Looking for Tinker. Ghost, he's going to be taken down. And Yang coming in with the counter. Oh, the chrono from Yang. Catches out Ryzen QO. Dubu will go for a defensive disruption onto QO, trying to save his life on the sidelines. Febby manages to finish off the Oracle. QO may pay with his life though, as Ends turned up as one of the Terrorblade, making a 2 for 2. They've got the X mark onto Dubu. Vici Gaming will find the 3rd kill in this engagement. So all kicking off very, very quick there. Febby gets himself in with a Haunt, but at the end of the day, it's Vici Gaming taking the favorable trade.
That was a very, very nice reaction there from Vici. All 5 heroes just in position. I think that the Quadswix Invoker is really good for situations like that, where you can like get a guaranteed kill on the Tinker, because you cold snap him and a Haunt is up, and the hero's pretty much just going to fall over. You can't defend yourself against that, even with the use of the infused raindrop. So it was a nice idea, but having the Chronosphere available and Yang coming in and hitting a clutch 2-mat Chrono.
Talking about Yang, Moonlight Shadow as the boys look to set up on him, trying to get the time walk out of him first. Rises in position on the low ground, finds the follow through arrow. The burst is there, they'll take Yang down. Very nicely done by MVP, and they may not be done yet. Ghost indeed spotted out by QO. And MVP with a full 5-man down on the bottom lane, taking down 2 cores with a very nice bit of play.
Well, they just realized, they used their one big team fight ultimate. I mean, before that point, I don't even think F5 was 6. I think he hit it after the fight middle, so he didn't have Vote either. Now that he has it, he'll have a lot more damage in the team fights, which is going to be great, but just good punish there from MVP, recognizing that Vici didn't have their full team fight potential online. And I guess you could also say it's a bit of carelessness by Vici for trying to push like that and not having any vision in the enemy save lane.
Bottom tier 1, this is going to go down, MVP. The full man will see if they stick around for more, what the plan's going to be there. Do have the ping onto the tower, but the tier 2 will be defended. Vici Gaming coming through Yang, 25 seconds until he has that chrono back on. MVP just getting a couple of punches in. It looks like already backing off QO. TP's off towards the mid, and the rest of the side will almost certainly look to retreat, as they don't feel confident on pushing again. Vici Gaming are moving over pretty heavily, and has the Dragon Lance done. And so MVP possibly just going to look to try and take a tier 1 mid. That's the last tier 1 standing at the moment. Dubu being a little bit ballsy. He's hanging around here, spamming out the poison. It looks like he will be fine. Yang not wanting to blow a solo chrono, of course, just for the Shadow Demon. But 6 for 6 at this point. Overall, the difference is a slight edge. Well, 3k in fact.
It's a large edge. I mean, look at Ghost farm.
Yeah.
Ghost has been pressured so much in his lane, whereas, Vici haven't really been able to apply that same kind of pressure in other places, which seems weird because I guess it's just the Mirana effect, right? Like, even if you don't really see a reliable arrow, just the threat of the arrow is what causes so much problems for the enemy mid player. So even though Ryzen only managed to connect on, I think, like 1 or 2 of them during the early game towards mid, it just doesn't really matter because you're always scared. And when you're always playing scared, you just don't get as much as you should. And Ghost, he barely has as much net worth as his freaking offlaner right now.
I mean, I guess, as time goes on, Tinker is one of those heroes that can catch up, can't he? As long as he gets his core items, and as you said at the moment, that is the problem. The fact that he is, still away from having the blink and the bots. What's going to be used? You see they're going to like to try and make a move on it. Is Ghost there looking to punish Tinker, and as you said, he's not having a great day already. He may be about to have an even worse one. There will be a false promise coming out from DDC. A lot of damage being laid down onto Ghost. Is it going to be enough to pop him? It is, yeah. The big fiery ball of doom will take him out, and DDC being played around by Velo. They have lost Dubu. Hero's still trying to find that kill. He's going to bail now. Realize he's sticking around for too long. In fact, the chrono from Yang. They caught QO out, the boat as well. And sweeping around, QO falling low, and he will go down. Yang time walks off the damage. Ryzen going to go for the TP. Yang needs a bash. He's not going to get it. And the escape will be successful there from Ryzen. Yang chasing down Velo, see if he can get anything more. Won't be the case for the time being, but again, both of the mid laners going down, but it certainly is being a very painful experience for Ghost in particular, as you mentioned, just getting picked off time and time again. At least on the plus side for Vici Gaming, this time they're able to do something in return to punish it.
Well, every time Vici has Chrono, they're more than willing to fight, because they have such good synergy with it. I mean, assuming Ghost lives, he can throw marches, lasers, whatnot. You have FY's combo as well, which is strong. Even Oracle adds a fair bit of damage inside of the Chrono with Purifying Flames. So whenever Yang has that ulti, they're gonna go for counterfight. It's not a matter of that. I think it's just more, it's almost 15 minutes in and Ghost doesn't have spots yet. Like, this is real late for a Tinker. And because of the fact that there's a Spectre on the enemy team who's sitting on 2,800 gold, like,
oh yeah, he's close to Relic.
It looks like he's, just rushing the Radiance. And if he has that, and you don't have, like, one item on top of your Blink bots as Tinker to be able to defend yourself, it's going to be a struggle for him to even come back in the game. On the bright side, they do have End, who's farming like a monster. He's, like, 1,200 net worth above Febby right now. So he's the shining light right now for Vici. Really is the case, and they, as you said, just need to keep finding around these ultimates, which they have been doing very well. I mean, feels like, each and every time they've had a Chronosphere, Yang, he's been able to land a good one and make something happen with it. At this point, Ghost, he's nearly there. Nearly there towards that bot's recipe. I mean, if he goes down again, he is going to be so tilted. He's got to be careful, because MVP do have 4 heroes towards the mid. I'm sure Ghost will play it safe. I mean, if he gets cold snapped and there's a Hawk, he's just going to get dove. I mean, this time DDC is kind of sitting behind him, so is FY. And I think that's why MVP are a bit more apprehensive about diving this. They also don't really have the greatest vision in the area. That's another thing, too. It's really important that, at least for the side of Vici, that you're winning the vision game and at least keeping your side of the map safe, because you have 2 very farm-hungry heroes, and you need to win the vision war if you want to be, like, staying relevant.
I mean, look at this, the smoke from Vici Gaming up towards the top. Velo, it's a bit of a hard target to go on. Yang has got the Chrono, jumps in, pop it down, but the Horn's going to come back in return. We'll see if they can turn this MVP. Moonlight Shadow, Velo, is he going to live? No! The final burst from DDC will take him down. Febby, he's actually come in on this one. They got detection for him, yes they have. Febby to fall as well. A very, very painful fight for MVP there. Trying to turn around immediately with that Horn reaction. That is going to knock Febby back, I believe, probably what would have been a couple of 100 gold as well towards that Relic. So
yeah, he
just
lost about
awkward fight there.
I think they all said that they wanted to fight. Like, they were clearly on the same page, because the rest of MVP, like Ryzen, Dubu, and QO, were all walking up there. But he just haunted in too fast. I think he prematurely popped his ult, and then wanted to be at the fight, so he had to haunt in early before the haunt illusions actually went away, because otherwise he wouldn't have been there. And they really wanted to fight because they wasted a Chrono on 1 hero. So it was just the right idea, but the execution wasn't there.
And we'll see if Ghost is able to start really get the ball rolling now with that bots and looking towards that Blink Dagger. And as we can see, Dubu and Ryzen not afraid to come over to this side of the map. And that's going to be spotted out, of course, by Vici Gaming's warning, so Ghost are unlikely to be caught out by any movement that comes across. MVP for the time being just backing off. Alright, Midas, point booster, 500 gold towards the rest of the components for Ags, FY. As that Ether Lens done. And actually wrapping around here from the side. There's the X mark onto QO. Has got the Torrent follow-up. That'll simply just be the disruption for Dubu just in case anything else came out. MVP will find the tower. And,
I mean, Vici are doing an excellent job, again, about warding. That's the 3rd, I think, ward that I've seen drop so far by MVP that instantly gets de-warded. That's very painful when you want to be dictating the pace of the game. I mean, sure, you're going to be able to get vision through stuff like Haunt to be able to take proper engagements, but ideally you want to see them before you pop Haunt so you know exactly what you're getting into.
Well, Febby has that first hurdle done. Relic is complete. And as we were saying earlier, Radiance, once it does come online, going to be a huge issue in these fights, especially for heroes like Tinker, especially for a Tinker that is this far behind. He doesn't even have the chance of trying for a rearm blink, as he's still about 1100 gold away from having that complete. Bloodstone done on Velo. Pretty good timing as well for 19 minutes on the offlane, especially considering he was having a lot of hate thrown his way. He has that Bloodstone complete.
I mean, that's just Timber things. He always gets a lot out of his lane, especially when you know you're going to be laning against like a half melee, half range core and Terrorblade, and just an Oracle, because the Kunkka was roaming most of the early games, so... They're really going to go for Roshan. I mean, they have the Vlads on Yang, so it's going to be fairly safe. MVP are in the area.
Horizon to throw the arrow through. It's only going to help the side of VG out for the time being. Catches Roche, but they'll see it's low. I say low, it's about half health at the moment. MVP. Actually, Rise is going to get X-marked here. Big Dubu with the defensive disruption. Now the combo coming in from QO. Forcing Vici Gaming back. And looks like it's going to be exactly what they do, just backing off it. As I guess they know, well, yeah, with a Cosmic Invoker and such, MVP themselves can't really sneak in and finish off Roche, can they?
Nah, they don't really have the damage. Their heroes are not good at killing Roshan at all. They can push out waves, they can teamfight, but they need a lot more farm if they want to go in and threaten Roche.
Febby as
the
well,
nice thing is
close to Radiance.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. He's so close to the Radiance that if Vici are ever missing and they feel like they might be doing Roche, Haunt is an amazing way to scout out the map. It's kind of like having a Zeus on your team. You just pop it. Obviously, it's a longer cooldown than Thunder God's Wrath, but it can kind of do the same thing.
They are eyeing up Roshan, but indeed, at this stage, unlikely to try and take it for themselves unless they get a very convincing team fight beforehand. Top lane, and actually go for the BKB this game. So, yeah, the Dragon Lance, Yasha, and now picking up a BKB. Do you feel just against MVP and slide up against what Invoker Tims, you've got to get a BKB on your core?
Oh, yeah. You explode. You just don't have the health. You get Tornado EMP'd, and then Cold Snap and Timber Saw damage, and later on you're going to have to worry about Ryzen's Aghanims as well, which he's halfway through right now. It's going to get really hard to stay alive if you don't have that magic immunity. So as much as buying an early BKB on a core is frustrating because you want another item that's going to either boost your farm or give you damage, you kind of need it in this area.
Well, good news for Ghost. He's pretty much got that blink done. And at the same time as, of course, Yang himself on the Void has the blink complete as well. Chrono's available, so Vici Gaming in a very good position to fight if MVP do come in. But, well, I say that, of course, they are going to have to deal with Febby's Radiance. So we'll see how much that comes into play if it all kicks off. But MVP, for the time being, putting some pressure on the bottom lane. Same time, Vici Gaming just looking to move him in with End's Metamorphosis. Trying to take the tier 1.
Strong timing.
So I'm going to fight here with the Midnight Shadow. Yang comes in, gets the Chrono onto QO. QO going to be defensively disrupted. The boat's coming through as well. The Haunt from Febby. Febby trying to look to work on the backline. His Feb fight's going to be false promised up, so he can't finish off the Kunkka straight away. Ghost with the laser. Febby, he's got to be careful, backs out. QO's Tornado gives him the space to do so. No one actually going down there in that fight. Hero's getting very low, but both teams keeping themselves together there. And the MVP overall do defend that tier 1.
Man, the rum buff actually kept both supports alive, I think, during that engagement. They took so much damage from the Spectre and still managed to live through that. I'm actually kind of amazed that nobody died. Because even though Kyo got disrupted inside of the Chronosphere, the boat was actually timed perfectly by FY to hit after the defensive disruption ended. It's just that with Febby being such a nuisance on the backline, there was no way that anybody else could walk forward to get any more bonus damage onto the Invoker to get the kill, and they don't actually get the tier 1 tower. So all in all, I would actually say that MVP are probably happy with that. Yeah. Because that was a really strong timing. Like Blink Chrono, unfortunately only hit 1 target that time from Yang. I think he was trying to catch Philo on the edge. And then 10-second BKB. That's about as good of a timing as they're going to get there from Vici for a while, and it didn't really work.
Oh, we can see QO will have the Aghanims ready for the next fight, as that's just about to be complete by him. Vici coming down to this bottom lane. QO is around here with Dubu. And Roshan still stands, of course. Neither team has been able to head back into the pit as of yet. As I guess Vici Gaming, they obviously did try earlier, but do you feel after realizing they just can't do it fast enough, they They just feel that they have to take at least one hero down before they can go in and have the time and space to finish it.
I mean, that's the best case scenario. You get a pick and then you roach. But that could... I think it's more applicable to Vici, yeah, than it is to MVP, because MVP would need so much time. They just don't do any damage. Maybe if your Invoker was Exort, you'd be able to kill Roche, but unlikely. So that's just applying pressure to them, right? Because they know that Vici can do it, and they can't. So they have to be constantly like looking at the pit and being like, okay, are they roaching? Are they pressuring? And you can see that Vici want this tower a lot because of Roche.
Oh, look at that. Ryzen hits an arrow to DDC, and that's going to be the call to go. Febby jumps in. They'll take the Oracle out of the fight. Yang coming in with a chrono to QO. QO's out in return. They're going to lose a second, though, Vici Gaming. And trying to man fight up against it all. Pops the BKB. Looks to get the damage down on Savilo. It's not going to be enough. Turns back towards Dude with the punches. Coming in, of course, though, from this Terrorblade. Rip the Shadow Demon to shreds. Ryzen leaps away. Yang looking to chase. The Moonlight Shadow comes out. Ryzen's going to be able to keep himself alive. Down towards the bottom right. Velo was able to chop down FY on the Kunkka. Velo, the man at the moment here with the triple kill this fight, and he may not be done yet. He's moving across. Will's looking for Yang, but Yang gets out, and actually just going to start to fight into Velo. Now he has to get himself out. The Moonlight Shadows run out. He's got to be careful. Yang, he's not going to chase it down, though. So Velo will get through, but yeah, Febby going down there as well to end. So again, another very, very messy fight. I think it did end up technically 3 for 3, but Febby going down at the end there.
It's better for Vici.
Yeah. Absolutely. Getting that Spectre kill at the end, and the fact that, yeah, End lives through it all. And as we can see, yeah, money-wise, that's reflected. He's now sitting at the top, 13,000 net worth on End's Terrorblade.
Yeah, this TV is going to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
MVP are doing what they can to kind of, like, kite him around, but pretty much whoever gets chronoed is just dead. Because End's going to be blasting you with, you know, Metamorphosis, now Manta style, and reflection damage on top of that. It's all MVP can really do to kite around in the backline with Febby and Velo to try to counter what, you know, Yang and End are being able to accomplish in these fights. And keep in mind, they pretty much lost DDC before he did anything. Like, he didn't even cast False Promise. That fight started up with him getting arrowed in the face.
Yes.
So they were basically playing that 4v5, and they still won. That's not really a good sign if you're MVP, because you need to be the ones pressuring right now.
What do you think about Febby's build here? So, I mean, is that for the time being just going to be a casual Vit booster? Or do you think he will finish it off into the Vanguard and then go for other items such as the Manta and such?
I mean, Abyssal Blade during the endgame actually is really strong on Spectre now because of the Vanguard build-up, but at the same time, I think it's a really hard game to itemize for because you do actually need quite a bit of survivability against this team. MVP.
Smoke on smoke. It's going to be taken off. The boat coming through. The Chrono for Yang. It catches 2. QO Ryzen. Ryzen's going to take the brunt of the foe to the face. The Torrent is going to catch both as well. Yang still trying to work for QO. Hasn't quite got the damage. They'll turn back towards Ryzen. Dubu stuck in the trees. Down on his knees. He's out as well. The jump forward from Yang. Looking to give Febby a bit of a bang, but the rockets come in. Febby still running back at Yang. Blinks forward. Febby, the heal actually they're working for him from DDC. Velo tries to timber chain out. He's going to miss it. Ends up just being FY paying with his life. They get 2 kills there. Velo actually does manage to find another one there on the side. Ends up catching out Yang on the retreat. So 2 for 2. Vici Gaming do get the tower. And End does live through it all and continues to get the money.
Now that was a misplay actually by FY, unfortunately. I mean, it was a really weird angle, but when they caught the Chrono onto Ryzen and QO, his boat actually only hit the Mirana. It didn't hit the Invoker as well, and QO barely got out of that fight with any health at all. So if that boat lands, he's pretty much dead during the engagement. Still though, I would say I'd say that one was maybe a bit more even than the last one. Vici obviously getting the better exchange in the previous team fight, but End is just a monster right now. Like
he really is.
You can't deal with him because a lot of the damage that MVP are doing, and this is also another one of the issues with Quasflex Invoker, is BKB actually just destroys you. Whereas Exort can still throw out an Alacrity, have like really strong Forge Spirits, Sunstrike damage. It just doesn't do anything when you're Quasflex. So he's magic immune the whole time, you're always getting chronoed, he just really can't contribute. And because Febby is really trying to do damage via Desolate and Radiance Burn at this point, he can't deal damage to him either. So who's actually going to kill the Terrorblade right now?
We can see in there, I'll just put some comparisons up on the screen. They're at 1-to-1 from each of them, and indeed it's looking good for the cause. But there's a bit of a back and forth between the two sides. So elsewhere, I believe it's kind of low down yet. As we can see, even though End is at the top, 3 members of MVP certainly up there in the value. Well, eyes on each other as they come around this jungle. MVP with a vision advantage. Actually, no, sorry, I say that. Vici Gaming do still have this ward here as well, so both teams spotting each other out there. I'm not going to be able to get anything done, Tinker. Down there's the trees at the bottom. Velo's around. You can try and hunt for the Tinker, but yeah, Tinker's already out. Velo's not going to be able to catch him. Ghost well and truly on his way out of there.
I guess there's always a possibility where you can wait for the Invoker to get to like ultra late game, maybe QO buys a Blink, which I think would be a really nice buy for him right now because Yang is just constantly focusing him with Chronos, and you need something to be able to position yourself better in the fights. You can't always rely on people to be there.
Where are we horning? Okay, they want Ghost. Febby haunts in, straight onto the Tinker. The counter is complete.
Yeah, that's the nightmare for a Tinker player. Just witnessing that. I'm sure a lot of Tinker players in chat are just like, God, that's annoying.
Hit R, find the little bugger and take him down. That's all Febby has to do there, and well, so you think anything more for FY? Actually eyeing this one up. Look at Velo. Velo's just going to play around the torrent. N's going to come in as well, and well, Velo's still trying to man up here now. Timber chains back out. MVP going to try and finish off the tower. QO very deep. Will get X-Mark, but again, Dubu with the defensive disruption, protecting him from being brought back into the clutches of the torrent. And MVP actually find the mid tier 2 and the bottom tier 2, so 2 towers there and a Tinker. MVP very happy with that.
Yeah, that was a very nice swing, and needed as well, because if too many more fights were just going the way of Vici on the back of N's Terrorblade, just doing a ridiculous amount of damage and Yang's control with the Chrono, I think it would soon become insurmountable. So to get the cores on the side of MVP kind of back into fighting shape, I think is a really big thing for them, because, you know, Velo and then Febby and QO all have higher net worth than the Tinker or the Void, but Terrorblade is just still towering over everybody.
Yeah, and
like he's almost got a full item. Like 3,100 gold is a huge lead.
And talking about items, he has nearly got that next item done, I imagine. Yeah, well, Scardy next on the menu for End. And yeah, he's just a few hundred gold away from having the ultimate orb and the point booster to complete that. And then at that point, well, I mean, we've seen already, pretty much unkillable. And especially with the backup of the team, just having the Kunker's Rum, False Promise, Yang coming in with Chronos to help catch MVP out around him. It is very, very hard for MVP to kill the Terrorblade. I mean, we've seen, obviously, you know, Febby, they can kill Ghost. They can catch the Tinker at this stage, no problem. But it really is the Terrorblade that's the issue that needs to be dealt with the most.
I mean, that's one way that you can look to deal with it, though, that you just said yourself, is as long as the Tinker is dead, I think that MVP can actually play the laning game, because they have Timber, they have Aghanim's Mirana, so they can keep waves push. You know, they have Radiant Spectre as well with the Shadow Demon Illusions, so they can adopt a secondary style of play where it's not so much worrying about killing the Terrorblade, but it's more about keeping the lane equilibrium going in your way, and then also look for fights on the back of Hog, because that's a very, very strong way to play as well that Vici might struggle a bit with, because the Tinker's always going to feel hard-pressed to push lanes just because of the presence of Febby on the map. And if he ever gets caught out, at some point, you know, Febby's just going to solo kill him. It's not going to be, oh, if there's 1 plus Febby, I'm dead. It's, oh, Febby just kills me.
Well,
so that's going to be a point.
I mean, that point probably is just when he has the Manta, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Catching him on his own in the trees and hitting him hard with the Desolate. Vici Gaming actually coming across there. They'll drop the sentry. There'll be a haunt from Febby. See, looks who's he going to go for. He's going to go for DDC first. Yeah, DDC. Put the False Promise. And it'll almost certainly go down. There's no way he could play his way out of this one. Febby chases him into the pit. And DDC will fall here. We'll see if they can get themselves anything else. Velo running in deep. Zip zapping past the team with the Timber Chain. Yang in the middle of it all. Had popped the Chrono. So Chrono now gone. And MVP finding 2, maybe even finding more really here. End's just manning up though. He punches into QO. QO actually just able to get himself out. And now MVP surrounding the Terrorblade, and they'll take him out. I think he did look to try and get the Sunder off, but I'm not sure if it was a Cold Snap or an arrow, but something came out just in time during that cast animation and stopped him from getting it off. So MVP taking 4. They'll look towards Roche, and they're fairly low. It looks like they will give it a go. They've got a good bit of time with Vici's cores on the sidelines, but a very impressive fight there from the team.
Yeah, a lot of things went wrong there from Vici. Like, DDC again starts off the fight pretty much being dead. they were very disjointed at the start of that. No one was together. They weren't sure who they wanted to go on. There was no follow-up damage in the Chronosphere because Dubu is standing on the high ground above the river. QO gets disrupted as soon as the boat and the torrent were coming through after Yang's Chrono. Did 0 damage. QO gets to re-engage, gets two other spells off. He manages to Yules himself to prevent, End from doing any damage during his BKB, because his BKB duration is now getting lower and lower. I think that one was a 7-second. I mean, it's going to get to a stage where that BKB is not going to guarantee that you win a fight. Vici needs to be very sure that when Yang throws down a Chrono, that you can get damage on it. Because if you can't, what we just saw bottom is the result. No kill on a Chrono means you lose the fight.
And we can see on indeed on the net worth, it's there was that kind of balancing out where it was around the 0 point. With Vici catching up a little bit, but yeah, MVP after that, rocketing it back towards, heading towards what looks to become about a 10k lead at this point. So a nice, comfortable lead now for MVP. As we keep saying, though, End is up there, but kind of core for core, MVP looking to be in the better shape between their positions 1 to 3.
I think it might, at this stage, almost be worth Yang just Chronosphere and supports, like trying to find, Dubu, for example. Like, it's very tempting to throw the Chrono out onto a core because it's a high priority kill. But Dubu's positioning has just been on point. He's been using that Blink Dagger very well. He's always where he needs to be. And if you throw out a Chrono and you just get completely countered by one support, it's really rough, because that's pretty much all of Vici's reliable control in the fight gone. If that Chrono goes down and nothing happens, Vici have to disengage straight up.
QO, of course, going towards that the Octarine build after the Axe, and he's finished up the first component, but he still needs the Mystic Star. Febby has a completed heart, so opting to go for that heart with that bit booster rather than the Abyssal. So Febby at this point, of course, incredibly tanky.
It just maximizes the effective Radiance and Dispersion in the fight.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to deal so much damage to the enemy team if you die with this build. And if he just finishes up Manta, he doesn't really need Abyssal to kill the Tinker. He just needs Manta, because you need to be able to Manta off the laser, and then you just kill Ghosts after the fact. But yeah, his build is more of the team fight oriented one.
I think Velo, is he looking for Shiva's Guard? So for the next fight, I mean, Velo, we haven't really talked about him too much, but he is having a remarkable game on the Timbersaw. He was bullied at the start, but at this point, the net worth, he's up there. I mean, look at him. He's a higher than End, and he's got Shiva's Guard. He's got 21 Bloodstone charges.
He seems to know his limits on the hero very well. Like in the beginning of the game, you remember when he did that weird creep pull, which I also think ended up doing him a lot of good in the lane, because it pretty much puts you at level 2. He did that full well knowing that he only had chain and didn't have any points into reactive armor. Knew exactly how far he could chain and managed to put himself in a really good position in lane just because of that alone. So when you see that kind of stuff, you kind of just expect that the player understands very well, how his hero functions. So, as you mentioned, he's having an amazing game.
Well, I mean, if you're MVP, is there a bit of pressure for you to try and push up to the high ground because of the threat of that Terrorblade, or is there no need to be hasty?
The 5-second BKB is actually going to be very difficult for End going forward, because the lower BKB duration you have, the harder it is to just stand there in meta and expect to be able to just hit people. And I think a lot of it's actually going to be more pressure on Yang than anything. Like, his Chronos need to be good, like, every single time. He needs to hit like a core and a support, or make sure that Dubu's not going to be there to disrupt. That's the hardest part right now, is because there's so much pressure on Chronosphere being landed well in the fights, is that if you mess up, it's like, okay, well, now MVP can just punish us if we don't get the kill.
MVP at the moment just keeping Vici Gaming pushing his base. Febby's actually going to come up, start to punch in a little bit. Milo does drop the Lotus Orb on him, and we may see some of the illusion spam starting to come out now. Dubu, bringing those illusions off Febby up. I'll just head back up to the high ground. Vici Gaming, see what kind of response they come in. Though the X-Mark Torrent onto Febby. Yam jumps in, doesn't find the perfect positioning for the Chrono, so immediately comes back out.
He's so scared, man. You can just tell. He wanted to Chrono there because he would have gotten Febby and QO, but the thing is, Dubu's still on the back line. He's just waiting. He doesn't have to put himself in harm's way. And that's the kind of, mental effect that a hero like Shadow Demon can have on you when you're playing Void. It's like, oh Jesus, I need to make sure that my Chrono is going to hit and we can actually get a kill. Because he canceled past that chrono. Like, his
Oh, he
arms
did-
went up
yeah.
in the air. And then he's like, oh, shit, never mind. I can't chrono here, and then ran away.
I mean, if anything, it did look like that, the kind of the threat of that and such has caused MVP to just back up a little bit. They're splitting up again, just trying to make the most of the map. Febi's gone up towards the top, whereas obviously for Vici Gaming, they're not splitting up at this stage. Moving around as a group.
Well, it's like I said, you know, you can play the lane game.
Yep.
You have this insanely tanky Timbersaw, Ags Marana as well, who actually leapt into it creep wave.
Ryzen?
I don't know what that was. That was pretty clowny.
Ah, that was a little unexpected. Kind of went away from mid for 1 second and you said he leaped in and that was it. Well,
I don't know what he was doing.
he's coming across here. Doobie drops the demonic perch onto FY. They'll come out with the horn as well. Febby again looking for DDC at the back of this fight to start off with. There'll be one successful TP out here. Velo trying to chase DDC and Yang back up. They get themselves out and caught in the midst of it all. Pots the BKB. There's the Sunder getting himself back up to full HP. Yang comes across. There's your Chrono. But again, Duba with the disruptions. He's going to be able to save one. He can't save Kubo though. The laser from Ghost comes through, taking him down. Velo still in the midst of it all. He's trying to do his best against Vici Gaming. They've got 4 heroes alive here. Has been torrented up. They actually take down this Timbersaw though. All 5 man of Vici Gaming still alive here. Dubu coming back in, trying to help his team out, but he gets taken down, and falling low will be taken by Velo. Velo finishes off end on the Timbersaw. Now under the cover of Moonlight Shadow, can they get more? Velo jumps across, eyes onto FY. Velo doing so much. In fact, the illusions from end ending, taking down FY. Velo, it doesn't look like this boy's done. He's going in for more. He's looking for DDC. He's going to get it. Velo now godlike, 24 Bloodstone charges. I mean, we saw a series like this the other day. It really feels like Velo is just... he is doing a lot of heavy lifting in these fights.
He's a monster right now. They don't... like, they cannot kill him. They have to dump everything on him in order to be able to reliably go through it. They are just diving so deep right now. I mean, they tried, but they could just be hitting the tower this whole time.
Oh, Velo! What a beast! It's just... I mean, instant buyback from Yang. But Velo, he is really showing up this LAN. Definitely one of the standout performers. Velo, back up, Yang comes through. They will get the X-Mark. Nice torrent onto the boat as well. Catches them. This could be big. Velo and Febby very low. And they can't quite finish them off. FY, Velo goes back in. He jumps in, looks for FY, timber chains into the base. I mean, he just gets away with it every time. He's back out. He's fine. The arrow comes through. He's going to clip onto anyone. Doesn't look like it. BKB from N. Yang with the chrono catches QO. They'll finally bring down the Timbersaw, but Yang falls in return. Febby.
That's a dieback on the Void, by the way.
Oh, man. He's going to be sundered. They need more Vici Gaming. Febby is falling very, very low, but he's not going to go down. He gets out. In fact, he's still sticking around here outside of the base. MVP know that Void's working on a dieback. They'd love to get something else done here, but at the same time, Vici Gaming, if they can find some of it, indeed, Velo jumping into the backline as he knows that N still has that BKB on cooldown. DDC will be there with the save, the false promise. The Sunstrike going to be juked out only just by DDC. But Velo again creating the space, allowing his team to move up and start to pummel into the barracks. He's trying his best with the Tinker spam. Keep the side of MVP back. A fortification comes out. Coming in again. To sword laser. Velo. Connect closer. Person the arrow. Oh, the arrow actually catches Ghost. They're not going to be able to go on him here. There's actually problems on the back line as it looks like FY managed to connect with a boat. And actually with 1 man down, with Ryzen out of it, MVP will finally decide to retreat from the base, but they got that melee racks that they were looking for. And so much damage and pain being done. Velo, 10-3-9, still right up there, level with N's Terrorblade farm at this stage of the game, 43 minutes in.
He's also 6 levels higher than Terrorblade.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's level 25, yeah. He's just been absolutely godlike this game. I think that it's one of those situations where it's very easy to forget about a hero like Timbersaw because during the mid game, you know, he's farming a lot. You know, he does damage in the team fights, but you're really concerned about the Invoker and the Spectre a lot of the time, right? But then it comes to a stage where Vici don't have a ton of lockdown, And they also don't really have a ton of magical moves, which are two things that you really want to be able to kill a Timbersaw. And the funny part about it is he doesn't really feel super countered, and he was a second pick.
Oh, Velo is going to be the one that they go on here. They've got a Haunt. They're going to look to try and turn. The boat's coming through, but Velo's already out of there. Vici Gaming trying to run, but Febby jumps in. Velo as well, leading the way. They want to do something now. Yang still has a chrono. Velo's going to be the first to come in, looking to burst down DDC. DDC with the Glimmer Cape, juking it out. The Shiva's Guard coming out from Velo is going to be X-Mark. Torrented as well. DDC falling low. Velo just going to continue to probably try and chase this one. They've lost Yang. Velo, can he find anything more out of this? To move in, he has a blink, trying to cut him from the side. Torrent, it's not going to catch the Timbersaw, and Velo comes in, chops down DDC through the cover of the Glimmer Cape, and he may not be done yet. Velo, again, forcing Vici Gaming into this position. 2 men down, Yang and DDC, 50 seconds, no buyback. Velo, she catches Ghost there with the Shiva's Guard. He's not going to stick around. He's basically just making sure that Vici Gaming cannot get close to these racks to defend them. This is the space that they need as Febby takes down a tower. Oh, they found FY and bursted down quickly by MVP. There we have it. Racks on the bottom lane to fall. Vici Gaming starting to crumble. Velo, I mean, he goes in. He's not going to go that deep though. This has very, very quickly just gone absolutely off the rails, out of control for Vici Gaming.
I don't know if there's any coming back from this, honestly. I mean, they're going to throw out a chrono.
They're going to try their better. Heavy, okay, taken out. Ryzen as well. It's going to be the next focus from Yang. Ryzen jumps out. Velo falling low. If they can kill the Timbersaw here, but oh, the damage from End, is it enough? Velo, yes, they'll get it. They'll take Timber as well. Now jumping in onto QO, but they don't have the detection on Yang. QO will be able to ghost walk out of this. Yeah, they do manage to hold only just. They have 2 ranged barracks left alive. Vici Gaming, they're coming down mid. They're going to try and do the best they can with this. But already we can see QO getting position for the rat. Top lane being pushed in as well by Ryzen. This could be an easy mega creeps as MVP just sneak past the team of Vici Gaming, clean out the base. So mega creeps are up now for the side. MVP needs something huge. I'm sorry, the Vici Gaming needs something huge to hold themselves in now, as they are dealing with the mega creeps. And well, Velo, he's working his way onto End. Found him on the mid lane. In fact, End, has he got any backup? He has got DDC, but not actually that close. Oh, the self-sunder. And pops the BKB. Velo continues to chase him down here now. Pulse Promise is being preemptively dropped. They know that they've got to throw everything on End to keep him alive at this stage, but Vici Gaming, it's a very, very hard situation for them to come back for an out. Ryzen comes in, comes out. QO actually caught between the midst of the middle, although he pop a Haunt. Febby, who's he going to go for first? It actually seems to be End on the Terror Blade is going to be the focus. Febby has a bash done now. The Cold Snap's out as well. End's going to be taken out. Does have a buyback available, but they're just going to call it now already. It's too much. GG, well played is called. MVP taking game 1 of the series. As I mean, where did it all go wrong for Vici Gaming, Andy?
I mean, that Tinker was a non-factor the whole game. That was pretty much where I think the biggest issue was, because it seemed like during, you know, the 15-25 minute mark, End had enough farm to be able to like keep them in the game. And then as soon as his BKB got lower and lower duration, and you know, Velo was continuing to farm, Febby was continuing to farm, QO still had more, you know, net worth than the Tinker at the end of the game, and QO was actually pretty under-farmed compared to what he normally is. It just felt like there wasn't enough damage on the side of Vici just because the Tinker had an abysmal start. And they hard countered him, right? They had Quaswex Invoker mid with Cold Snap, they had Roaming Mirana, and they had Spectre. No Tinker player on the planet wants to play Tinker in this game. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that that they had such a hard time. Because if he has his items a little bit faster, you know, he has the Ags, maybe gets like Dagon or something, or Hex, I think they have a lot more control in the fights. They can actually kill the cores. And more importantly, they can actually get picks, where their team was pretty much only fighting around Chrono for a very long time. So all those things kind of snowballed into MVP just being able to walk over them.
I mean, picking Tinker that early on in the draft as well, was that... I mean, does that work out sometimes in your mind? I mean, why do you feel that they did do that? Because as you said, it just really ended up biting them.
I think they
themselves
just
really
had that
hard.
idea. They had that idea in mind, right? Because they had Void already, and they're like, okay, let's just pick Tinker because we'll have very, very good, high ground defense. We'll be able to play a slow-paced game if we want to, and it felt to me like that's what they wanted to do. And then after they picked Terrorblade, it made even more sense because now you have like this, ultra carry type hero who benefits from having a lot of space. But the problem is when your space hero gets demolished for the first 15 minutes of the game, you're never going to have that space. And then it was End having to buy a BKB after Dragonlance Yasha into team fighting nonstop around Chrono. And then that puts more pressure on Yang because Yang's all of a sudden like, okay, if my Chrono's not amazing, we freaking lose. And there were like 2 or 3 fights in a row where his Chrono didn't result in kills, and that was where MVP got the biggest turnarounds. And I think there was one in particular on bottom lane when they went on QO and they pretty much got 5-man killed because of that. And that's pretty much where the game, like, they completely lost control.
I mean, it really does feel like, at the moment of this meta, if you want to play Void, you've got to either ban the Shadow Demon or have a hero that's going to be dedicated to trying to, play with him in the backlines. Because on its own, it's, as we see, as you said, it's what do you do against an SD that's constantly in position with the defensive disruptions?
Yeah, it's really tough. I feel bad for Yang because it's an incredibly hard game, and there was a lot of pressure on him to play well this game. And there's another thing too about this lineup is there's nothing that really goes to the back line really fast except for the Void, and that's the big problem. Is if you don't have another hero who can go on the supports, we see MVP, they love their PA, for example, a hero that's great at getting to the back line. They didn't have another hero like that. And when there's only one form of initiation, having one defensive support like a Venge or a Shadow Demon or an Oracle just crushes it. Just absolutely crushes it. I think they had an idea, and the idea just didn't work out.
Well, we'll see if anything different happens in Game 2. Of course, Vici Gaming probably need to rethink the way that they approach this, and MVP I'll look to continue to ride the momentum. Andy, I'll let you have a bit of break. We'll have a bit of silence. We'll let the stream enjoy some of the Chinese coverage
All right.
as we wait for Game 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We leave you with the lads and ladies from China, and myself and Andy will be back very shortly after a short break. I'm sure the games will be very, very quickly and smoothly run today. We'll see you guys shortly.